it shows that we're live. Let me see. Yeah, so I just got the link.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you get it too. Should I still send?
Yeah, please send it though.
Okay, I'll send on Facebook chat
Already here.
and on WhatsApp. Alrighty. Mashallah, I see 3 people there already. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
So just joining. Oi, oi. Shout out to you all. Thanks for joining. It's been a minute. Please feel free to share as much as you can and come up with your questions. If you have questions, Isaac and I will be chatting. Would answer to the best of our knowledge and capabilities. And if we don't know something, we'll be able to point you to it. But it's a chat that we need to have so people understand this thing called Bitcoin. To some people, it's magic. To some people, it's something disruptive. To some people, it's something that they just argue about. And they try to show all sorts of things why it's wrong. Maybe they read it from an article without really knowing what really is. So today we'll just be chatting about that so you can learn about it. Especially as we're aging and growing, we need to be able to manage our finances, our assets. We're no more kids. So we need to manage our finances and assets, and Bitcoin is a platform that can really help with that if you really know what to do. Mashallah. Welcome, Isaac. I think we can begin.
Yeah, hello guys. Brian, I saw the magic of Bitcoin very recently. Something very practical. I'm sure most of the people that will be following on this show have testified to that. You know, as you quite actually mentioned, you said that to some people, Bitcoin it's like magical. To some people, it's just something that they hear that is coming from the West. I'm talking from if you're in Africa, we just hear Bitcoin, and we don't really try to look into it. We don't know how realistic it is and how beneficial it is. But I was hit in the face right in the face with, the goodness, of Bitcoin recently.
Yeah.
A friend of mine got married recently. Last Saturday, was it last Saturday? Yes. So before the wedding, I was like, anytime I talk to this guy, he's just chilling. But how far now? Your wedding is just chilling. And meanwhile, he was just sorting out his marriage plans, his events. Doling out money and settling bills and all of that.
Yeah.
I was even sharing with my wife, like, what's up, man? This guy seems like, he doesn't have any stress. To put it in proper context to people watching from all around the world, weddings in Africa are a big thing. There are festivals where you invite. It's like a community. The whole community comes there. So normally when you have a wedding, you're supposed to be, your brain is supposed to be moving like very fast, and you're thinking about how to get all the monies to put everything in place.
Yeah.
So I got to Kaduna, and after the wedding, we got talking. This guy was telling me about Bitcoin, man, that he bought some coins.
Yeah.
Not up to a year ago. And a month his wedding, he sold them and he made a lot of money. As a matter of fact, he never really bothered if anybody supported him or not. And interestingly, we were sitting on a table having some drinks, and everybody was like, and people had to pay attention.
Yeah, right.
People had to pay attention because it was clear.
Yeah.
Mashallah. Yeah, and the guy who brought him said he bought Bitcoins in 2009 or 2007.
No, 2009. That's when it came out.
Yeah, 2009 at 51 naira or so.
Mashallah.
And today that Bitcoin is an equivalent of 51 million naira.
Mashallah.
That's
right.
The magic. So everybody on that table, his ears just went meow,
Yeah.
And people have started investing. So it's very important, and it's very important that we think that it's good that we talk about Bitcoin so people can learn, and those who also know more can also come into the program and by way of commenting, inject their wisdom into the show.
Yeah.
So Brian is the master on this show. He's the master of Bitcoin. People don't really know
I'm
Brian.
not the master of
Brian,
Bitcoin.
to some of us who know him, he doesn't want to talk about himself. Brian is a World Bank computer programmer. I mean, just because of topo spaces and some things, Brian left the World Bank to come here. If you're in Africa, all over the world, some of the applications that you have been using, or some of the policies that you have been using, whether it is Fadama agricultural stuff in Nigeria and all of that, all over Africa, some of the applications you have been using from World Bank, this guy here, this Cameroonian here, is the guy that does some of those things that you work on. So that puts him, I mean, very in the right position to tell us about Bitcoin since a digital thing. So Brian,
Yeah.
this Bitcoin, the first thing I like to ask about this Bitcoin, right,
Yeah.
is that how did it come to be? Who invented it?
Mashallah. Yeah. Isaac, thanks for the question. It's great to be here to chat and to be on the other side, almost like answering questions and stuff. I'm not really experienced in that yet, so permit me if I like just start going round and round. And also, yeah, as a computer person, there are lots of things that we're exposed to that maybe the rest of the world will come to see later. You see, so something like Bitcoin actually came about almost like a 30-year era of some cryptographers trying to fight for privacy. So, because if you look at the world today, banks, we have kind of surrendered all our data, almost our lives, to like governments and corporations. For you to sign up for a bank, you have to give your in the US, you have to give your social security number. You have to give more information than is needed. It's like you give people your money, you give them all information about you, then you also pay them for keeping that money. So that
Same thing
things,
in Nigeria here.
yeah, so things are always going towards that. And then there are times when people started seeing where these corporations and institutions were abusing their power. You see, so but the core was privacy because they know who you are, they can monitor you, watch you. So people didn't have the choice, they would just force you to do things. So back even like more than 30 years back, even in the 70s and 80s, there were groups of computer people who were interested in like cryptography. And if you know, cryptography is about secrets, it's about games and secrets. Governments use it every day with secret services. They use their secret service agencies to like keep information classified and stuff like that. You see, so people were thinking, what if we expose those tools to the public too, or what if we use those for our own privacy? Because there's no open society without privacy. I should have the right to be able to show you what I want to show and keep what I don't want to show. I shouldn't just do what you say and then you abuse that. So Bitcoin came from this group of people. It emerged from the various projects that they had been working on towards this regards. So they used to call them the cyberpunks. So it was a group, and they have, for those who know software like Tor. I don't know if you know Tor. Tor is like some software that hides your location. So it takes your IP and mixes it with everybody's IP, and then it keeps changing it like every few minutes. So if someone is tracking you, they will not be able to tell where you're from because you just be all over the place. And hackers use that a lot. So Tor, then there's PGP. There's also the many applications that came out from their research and their activities that really helped with privacy. And this group, since it's really about privacy, you can interact with them like online, but you will not know where they are, who they are, because it's just like a username, right? If you know just my username on Facebook, you may not know it. And if I don't give my picture, you wouldn't really know who I am. But we could always work and exchange data and information as is necessary. So this is the group that Bitcoin emerged from. So the person that actually introduced it to the world is called Satoshi Nakamoto, and people don't really know who he is, he or she. They don't know if he's a male, if he's female, if it's a group of people using one name. No one knows. So he introduced this and then disappeared after a bit.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Whoa. and we don't know his name. We don't
They
know
know
who he
they
is.
know the name as Satoshi Nakamoto, so they don't know if that's his real name. No one knows where he is.
That sounds Chinese or Japanese
Japanese,
or
yeah. So
Russian.
yeah, Japanese. It sounds Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Cool. So how exactly does Bitcoin works? I mean, when we talk about money,
Yeah.
you have a naira. I go
Yeah.
to the bank, I withdraw my naira. I go to the market, I buy a phone, an
Yeah.
iPhone. I give 150,000 naira or 250,000 naira for an iPhone, and I'm given the iPhone,
Yeah.
right? So how does Bitcoin works? How can Bitcoin replace such transaction?
Yeah. So thanks to that, actually, Bitcoin was created to replicate that kind of interchange, exchange, and transaction, but in the digital world. You see, without that's because with cash, I give you cash and we go away. All right. So there's no
Mm-hmm.
third person to come and make sure that things worked out. So Bitcoin tried to do that on the internet, allowing people, it's what they call peer to peer, allowing two people to exchange value without like the third party, which is like the banks as we know today. So for you to really know how Bitcoin works, maybe we should look a little bit about how banking works. So normally you would have a bank account and you probably have a username and you give all the information that you need, and they have a credit and debit system, right? When you go give like 100 naira to the bank, they don't go keep it in the box, and then when you come back, they take it out and give you. No, they go write some numbers somewhere, and then maybe they take that money and lend it to people and stuff like that. So with Bitcoin, when you are on the Bitcoin network, it's a network, right? It's a connection of people that exchange information, but the information they exchange for now is like Bitcoin, which is like payment, or you could use it for whatever, but you store value with it. So Bitcoin has its own ledger, just like the bank will have, that registers people and their ownership of Bitcoin. So it's almost like a box that, okay, Isaac has put this amount in this box, but they don't know that if you are really Isaac or not, because it's just those names. So this what they call public key. It's all based on cryptography. You see, so just like how with email, you can use your email address and sign into Google and see all your stuff. So Google secures that for you. So Bitcoin secures Bitcoin. You see, so you can buy Bitcoin or exchange goods and services for Bitcoin, but you have an address where you will lock those. So the network allows you to use your public key, which is like a username, for receiving payments and for interacting with people, and then it has a private key for opening those boxes, which is like your PIN or your password. So on the network, if I have certain number of Bitcoin, let's say I have 10 Bitcoin, I want to send you one, you would give me your public key, which is like the your username, and then I would send you Bitcoin to that address. So that key is an address. So you give me your address, and I will send you the money, the Bitcoin to that address. And then the network itself, everybody in the network, there's a group of people that their job is to update the ledger, not just one person. So that's to make sure that people can't cheat, and we can talk more about that. So it also gives some kind of transparency. But since we don't know who you are, it provides some sort of a pseudonym, right? So I will send that money to your address, and then
Mm-hmm.
the people that process that update the registers will receive it and make the updates, the necessary updates, and then let everyone on the network know. So everybody has a copy, right? Like all the main people that you are free to participate in that network. You're almost like your own bank. So you can get a copy of all the transactions that have been made. So that's what gives it the security, because one person cannot go in the background and change everything. So when I send
So
it to
how?
you and it's updated, then you now will have that Bitcoin in your box, which you can
Mm,
open with your own private key and then send it
mm-hmm,
to other people. So that's how
mm-hmm.
it works, summarily.
Okay, okay. So it's like you now transferring an equivalent of a dollar to my account,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So if I have it now, how do I sell it? How do I transmit the Bitcoin into a monetary value?
So that
You know.
depends on you, and there's a wide array of activities. Because, for example, uh, I could have told you that, okay, Isaac, come on top of Spaces with me. We chat for 30 minutes or for 1 hour, and I pay you 1 Bitcoin per hour. So you give me your Bitcoin address, and after we chat, that's a deal. I send the Bitcoin to you. That's one way. We could as well meet. You have US dollars and I have Bitcoin. We exchange. So it's often an exchange. So just think of it the regular currency. It's exchange of goods
Yeah.
and services for it, because that's value. So that's
Yeah.
something you want. So you are willing to
Yeah.
exchange something for it. It could be your
Yeah.
time. It could be your there are people
Yeah.
that take payments in Bitcoin only. There are people that have converted their salaries to Bitcoin. That's what they get paid in. You see, so
Yes.
it's so
So
that's it.
me, I'm talking now. For instance, now you send somebody's Bitcoin in Buya.
Yeah.
How does that person translate that digital financial value, you know, to a purchasing power where he is, you know,
Yeah.
because it's Bitcoin you send to my box,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I can't eat it now.
Yeah, you
I
can.
mean, it's still in digital format,
Yeah.
right? So how do I use it? If I want to use that money to buy a phone now, how do I get to translate that money to buy a phone with?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing like we just said.
Okay,
So
how do I use it to buy tomatoes in the market?
yeah, I'll tell you. So it's pretty much the same thing like we just said. It's about exchanging goods and services, right? So if the person that you are wanting to buy the thing from has accepts Bitcoin, then that's the smoothest way for you to use it as trade. There are people that accept it, there are merchants that accept it as a form of payments. In the same way that you could go give your computer to someone and take tomatoes. You see what I mean? So, and then it said that information is power. You see, Bitcoin is actually just information that is highly secured, and people, you can rely on it in terms of its value and in terms of how you can operate with it and the opportunities that you can dive into because of it. And it's very simple. It's you could see it's in the US. It's classified as an asset class. So it's an asset that is valuable, right? And also, since you asked that, how do you like trade with it and exchange its value? The real answer of those is of such questions is in like human activity, because people only accept the value of things because many other people accept the value of it. You see, so if now where you are, a lot of people start valuing Bitcoin, they will start accepting it because they will think of ways of getting Bitcoin. So then they'll be able to exchange it, and it's one of those
Are
things
you
that
suggesting? Are you suggesting? Are you saying now that like maybe in Buya now, if you have Bitcoin, you can't use it? You
no,
can't
you
get it
can
value.
no,
You can't
you
use it
can.
to buy tomatoes on the street.
I don't know. I'm not in Boya, but I am trying to say that if the tomato person does not accept Bitcoin, you cannot buy tomatoes with Bitcoin.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even if it is not the tomatoes person, I'm saying there other people around that use Bitcoin that I can just meet. I mean, I'm saying that the fluidity,
Yeah.
right? The fluidity of money. That's what I'm looking. Is Bitcoin also fluid? If you
Yeah,
send me
Bitcoin is
Bitcoin
liquid.
now, can I get somebody that I can sell it to in my local area, in my state where I am, that would give
So
me the naira
so
or
so
the francs?
so that depends on, that's not a question I can answer, because it's not something that is just, I cannot be here and know how Bitcoin is used in Nigeria. You see what I
Yeah,
mean? So it
yeah,
depends. So, but what happens is that it's like any technology, people adopt it. So you, for example, if you see like your friend, you told the story of your friend who used it,
yeah.
and people have seen the value that how it affected his life. It's the same like if somebody says, I went to this pastor and the pastor prayed for me, many people will see the value in that and they'll start going there, right? So places that have adopted Bitcoin is because they have had many people like your friend who have like shown them the value, and then they too got into it, they felt the value and showed other people who got into it. So it's a network effect. So you
Yeah,
see now that in a situation like that, I can't answer whether you can use it in your locality, because it
yeah.
depends
Me, I can
if,
answer.
Yes.
Me, I can answer because while we were sitting at the bar, and having drinks, and they were telling us about the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
He got one of his friends around got a call, and it's like somebody was asking for a certain kind of Bitcoin. From what I understood from them is that the Bitcoin also varies in just like the way
Yeah.
we have dollars, naira, francs, lira,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
ruble,
Oh, this
and all
currency.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah. This currencies. Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So somebody asks for another form of currency, and to say that do you have somebody wants to buy in exchange for money,
Yes.
so if I get what you're saying, there are people around, there are networks of people around. Once you have Bitcoin, you want to sell, and you ask around, you always get people who are willing to buy or sell.
Yes.
If I'm correct.
Yes, just like at the airport, like if you're leaving Nigeria, there are probably people who will take your naira and give you US dollars, right?
Yes.
And sometimes it
Yes.
mustn't be at the airport. You will see one pa in your cartier that has a bar, but he has those connections. So, but the long and short of it is that if that person is not there, then you can't exchange. Or if there's somebody that does not accept that, then you can't exchange. So it's as simple as a human activity that is made possible by those that are interested in it.
Okay.
You see, so until, but it also has the ability to really pick people's interest. So by the time it has this network effect that it does, that by the time a few people get it, other people will get it, and it's a whole journey because you come to it with maybe just for the money and the value, and then you start seeing that it educates you because it starts teaching you about money, about society, about value and things like that, and then it's something that you start holding it onto it because it becomes an asset.
Let's just hold it there. Let's
Yeah.
just hold it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it teaches you, it starts educating you about value, about society,
Yes.
and how to function in this our new world.
Yeah.
Yes, that has will come. I mean, that's very interesting. I love that very much. So Brian,
Yep.
um, what do I need? What does anyone need? To go into Bitcoin. What do I need now to invest into Bitcoin? Right? It's like an investment. You invest into Bitcoin. What do I need?
Yeah.
Walk us through the steps, please, if you can.
Yeah. So I get there's a comment from Michael. Thanks Duchess. She says yes, it's possible to use the Bitcoin as a day-to-day exchange currency. In Douala, for example, we have shops, bars, and hotels where you can pay your bills in Bitcoin. So you see, people are accepting it already. So as it's adopted, and if the people accept it, and most of the applications that are built on top of it, they give you this experience that is kind of smooth because you could use like a QR codes. For example, if I want people to support Topo Spaces, I could make a QR code here that has, let's say we tell them pay 0.00 of Bitcoin. We can capture that request and print on this cup, and I can have it here on the screen, and someone could scan it with their phone. And so long as that, because it's a shape and pattern that has captured that payment information, so they just scan it and they pay. So from everywhere. So you see, I could be holding a QR code on this cup now, and you can scan it from your camera and pay.
We have a transaction.
Yes, exactly. So imagine such user experiences on top of the security of the system that is underneath it. As we chat, maybe we would see what we mean by that security and the properties that really give you that show you its existence as money, or as sound money, or as sound asset.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
thanks, Miko.
That is the next part where
yes, but you had asked me about the steps.
But first, the question I asked is that ordinary individual, what do you need to invest in Bitcoin? What do you do to get investing? Just please, I know you have mentioned it.
No, it's fine. Thanks. That's a great question.
Just walk us through.
Yes. That's a great question. So to get into it, I will start by saying that mostly if you use the word invest, it's almost it doesn't really capture the activity in its entirety, because if we think of like traditional investment, which is what dominates our existence today, if you invest in like Google, you are like buying some piece of the company, and sometimes you don't have control over that, right? Like you can't use, I can't take that piece of Google and go buy coffee. You see what I mean? So investments are those things that we kind of lock away in cold storage, or they are kind of cold and distant from us. You see, so if we think of utilizing and participating in Bitcoin as investment, then it limits us. It already limits our worldview at the door. So Bitcoin is an asset that allows you to be your own custodian. You can own it and hold it and keep it for yourself. You're not holding a representation of it. You're holding the actual asset. So that's what you can send to people. You see, and so now for you to acquire it, you have to join the network, just like you joined Facebook. So Bitcoin is a network of these computers and the people that run the software that follows the protocol or the steps or the procedures that make Bitcoin what it is. So that network of computers, you join Bitcoin by using that network. So now the software that allows you to participate in that network is typically known as a wallet. So because a wallet, and you can get a wallet today in several forms. The most typical ones are like with your Android phone or your iPhone, you would get a wallet, and what the wallet does is it helps you keep your balance or your Bitcoin, and it helps you manage the keys that you use to lock and unlock the boxes that have your Bitcoin. Because remember, Bitcoin is built on top of cryptography. So it's about using clever tricks to hide things and show them only to the people that need to see them. So when you receive Bitcoin, you are the custodian of it. It's locked on that network, but only you can open it, or somebody who has your PIN or your public key or your password. So now so you see that it's simple as getting a wallet, and the wallet will allow you to sign up, and sign up is about generating that username or public key, and for sending and receiving Bitcoin to people or interacting with people at a public level, and that PIN, that password or private key that allows you to approve these things, or to get into it and approve or unlock your own belongings. So if I have to say it again, it's about getting that wallet, um, acquiring your keys. The wallets always create this experience where you could create generate some keywords that would help you back up your wallet, so that you can drop that phone, get a new wallet, put those get a new phone, get that wallet, put those secret keys, and you regenerate your assets. With that, with the wallet, then you can participate to that network. And of course, for now you need the internet, of which you must not use the internet. If you have Bitcoin, I have a Bitcoin wallet or a Bitcoin node, that's software running Bitcoin, and I have it, you have it, we're in a network, we can connect. We must not connect with the internet. So if we connect and you connect to another person and that person is connected to the internet, I can transact with everybody on the internet through the one person that is connected to the internet. So it's that kind of network effect, almost like different roads in your Cartier that you can pass around, go to the supermarket or sub network and get what you need and propagate all the transactions. So that's how everybody connects in the network. But that wallet is like the window into the Bitcoin world.
Yes. So you have the wallet now. So how do I now invest my 50,000 naira? How do I now, put in my 50,000 naira?
So it will go back to the step we spoke about previously. If I have somebody who is willing to receive, it's an exchange. If I have somebody who is willing to receive that 50,000 naira and send me an equivalent of Bitcoin, and then I would give them that, and then they send it to me just like a text message, because the wallet is software that you just select. You would give, let's say you have the 50 million or 50,000 naira, and I have Bitcoin, right? So we can check online, we can check, but we would have to come to agreement that okay, this 50,000 naira will allow me to give you, let's say 0.001 Bitcoin. I'm just saying. So if we come to that agreement, that's a regular trade, right? So you give me your address, and or you create a payment request, and we can just scan it with the phones, and the Bitcoin will leave my account to your account, and then people in the blockchain or the network will be notified or update the records, and people will approve it by checking if I had the money in the first place, right? And like that, that's how you get it. So that's that's one way. Another way is like the online exchanges. There are platforms. There are platforms that they do automatic market making. So it's an asset, right? It's a product. So it's not different from tomatoes. So there's some people that will take tomatoes and all the tomatoes in Nigeria and put it at the level of the international market. And if someone leaves China, there is somebody that would match them, right? So you want to buy tomatoes for 50,000 naira. There is somebody who would look for somebody who wants to sell tomatoes, or the number of people that want to sell and get worth 50,000 and sell to you for a fee. And so there are exchanges, that there are software platforms that do that. So they do the market matching for people that want to buy and sell Bitcoin. And there's some of them like Coinbase and Binance that you can just log in there, connect a bank account, and they'll create and they also double as wallets. So they provide wallet capabilities or features and exchange.
That these options are provided in my wallet once I set up my wallet.
Yes, there's some wallet. I'm saying that. I'm not saying they're set up in the wallet. I'm saying there are platforms that give you a wallet. A wallet is an application. So you can have this platform that is an exchange, but when you buy it, they need to send to an address. So for some of them, you could buy it and put the address that you want to send it to. But for most of them, they just give you a wallet. So when you buy it, they send it to that wallet that you control. You see, but you don't really control, because they are the ones that manage the wallet, which takes us to something that is not really a Bitcoin. It's not in the Bitcoin ethos, because Bitcoin allows you to be a custodian of your own assets. You should hold the public and private key. So when you go to these exchanges that do that, they generate the wallet for you and they manage it for you. Even though they may manage it with code, they don't look at it personally. But if the exchange goes down, you don't have, if you can't connect to that, you will not be able to get your Bitcoin. You see, so yeah. So those are like those are the most prominent ways to get Bitcoin today.
All right, cool. So I mean, but when why you talk like this, I mean, I still see that. So why go to Bitcoin when you because some of the fears that people have, in investing, taking their monies to the banks, especially in Nigeria, especially in northern part of Nigeria where I come from. People prefer to keep their monies at home. I'm sure maybe you have similar issues in Cameroon and maybe in America, where you see that you go to somebody's house and you see a large stacks of money. High stacks of money, because in Nigeria sometimes banks have crashed.
Yes, very true.
There are people who were multimillionaires, end up just being what the amount of money that was in their pocket as of that time. So Bitcoin, man, and we now have some spiritual people, who are managing it, and we don't know them. How do you allay my fears?
Thanks for that question.
Just crash to one day,
Yeah, thanks for that question, and thanks for all your questions, Isaac. They really and what I notice is if we also take steps back and look at what we have already talked about, we would see how they're building on top of each other. We've understood that Bitcoin is a network, and then you can participate in that network and share the value. The Bitcoin you can exchange with people and stuff like that. So now you're asking why somebody wants to do that as opposed to not keeping their money themselves, like putting under the mattress. So before I answer that, there is a comment from a Duchess. Thanks. She says there are applications like the BitCap, which converts Bitcoins to my local currency, France CFA, into my mobile money account in 2 minutes. So with Bitcoins, I don't really need to go about with huge amounts of money since I can conveniently convert and withdraw the amount I need at any given time. Thanks, Mikhail. And these are all the kinds of experiences and applications.
I didn't get that. Is she saying, is Judge saying that there are applications that will convert the Bitcoin amount to the local currency? Is that what she's saying?
Yes. So she's saying, if, for example, if you have this is what they call like off ramps, right? It's like where you actually connect and pull out your money. So such the applications that connect Bitcoin to like your local currency. So she's saying that there is one like that called BitCap that can convert from Bitcoin to her local currency, and she can receive it as mobile money. You see, yeah, because they have, so it's because, and it's actually an application in the same way that we've spoken. So the person doing, you have the service that will receive Bitcoin and give you mobile money credits. So let's say you're using MTN, and then MTN gives you a mobile wallet, and in that wallet, let's say you have 10,000 naira, right? So you could have a wallet application or some other. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Sorry, man.
So it's about application, right? So the wallet, you would have this wallet that has capabilities of taking the Bitcoin and exchanging it with the mobile money. But how do you receive it at the other end in your mobile phone? You see, so the same way like you and I, so that's what I'm saying. Lots of this build on what we've talked about, right? The same way that you and I can exchange. You give me 50,000 naira, and I give you Bitcoin in your wallet. We can replicate that behavior as software. So there will be software that is willing to receive Bitcoin and then emit or send out MTN money or whatever money it is, and the receiving end will be your phone number. You see, so these are all things that can be built on top of Bitcoin, and it also answers some of the questions that you had asked about liquidity. So I'm glad Duchess put that answer there. So it explains that liquidity aspect. And remember, of this, I was telling you how people build experiences on top of Bitcoin, and there are applications that need use Bitcoin more than us. And then just imagine if you have an application that has 10,000 users, and for each user who is transacting, it needs some Bitcoin to as transaction fees and things. So you see that those applications also demand Bitcoin. So not just people need it, but the applications need it. So they can also and since it's built on the security of the network, you can be sure that you don't need to investigate if it's gonna go right, because this is what is leading into a whole new set of a whole economy called the Trustless Economy, where like people could exchange value without us needing to trust anyone at the other end. For example, you could want to participate in some business or some endeavor in the Bitcoin space that says send 100 million worth of Bitcoin to this wallet, and so will happen. So you can send that without being worried that some minister somewhere is going to intercept it. You see, because then it's going through, you have secured it in a way that just those who can touch it can touch it. Or you can even secure it as much as the other people can see it or lock it, but they can't take it or spend it without their approval. You see, so it gives rise to a whole...
And the necessary would not even know if it is Isaac Abrak that owns that account. They
yes.
just know that this account is owned by so digits, I mean,
yes.
Right? So yes. Encrypted code.
Yes, exactly. And then if you wanted, I could give you maybe down later, I could show you how that is possible with a little bit of mathematics and probability, how it becomes possible for such secrecy or such the vastness of that field, how it works on top of a cryptography that is...
What stops us from making it from doing it now? I mean,
yeah, because that's the question. But anyway, we can continue.
Okay, yeah. So let's deal with the questions. I mean, it's a conversation in continuous. Even if we don't have it in this episode, we can have it. So now we're sure that the Bitcoin is a system that exists for everybody that is involved in it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody, it exists for everybody. It exists in a network of people, of friends,
Yeah.
of organizations, of
PS.
things,
Yes.
on all of that. Of it's a universal. It has a universality of users, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Exactly. And
yeah.
can I add
So
something just based on what you said?
mhm,
So,
mhm,
thanks for actually painting that picture, because when you say
that's how I understand it.
yes, because when you paint the picture that there is this universal network of people that come and put and exchange value, then yeah, and Duchess just told you of one service, the exchange service, and how even applications do that. Now you can start building different experiences and financial phenomena on it, like lending and borrowing. So you could be a farmer and you not need to go submit some kind of application, write a project to a bank, only for them to take it and dump it, and you waste more time trying to get money from the bank, of which they may end up owning your farm than actually working. But you can connect with all these people that you don't even know, and you can plug into this liquidity, and based on the merits that you have, you can borrow what you need. So because now they have this financial phenomena on it, like lending, where I could come and give a collateral, right? Although it's over collateralized. Like if I need $100, I need to give assets, maybe Bitcoin worth $200, and I take $100 and I go do my thing. And when I'm done, I come and pay it back, and they give back my collateral that was double the amount or so. But it's always over collateralized, so they call them over collateralized loans. So you see that the risk there, such a system will not collapse as fast as our
What do I need
economy.
as a collateral? What do I
Like I
need
said,
for it?
Bitcoin. So like I said, Bitcoin, because
So why do I need to give? If I have the Bitcoin, why do I need a loan?
because
Why do I need to
Bitcoin is an
get
asset,
another loan?
because your Bitcoin is an asset that you have that has value, and you
I
may,
understand.
and then
So
rich people don't sell their stuff.
okay, so for instance, please let me understand. For instance, now I can give my Bitcoin as a collateral to collect fertilizer. Is that what
Yes,
you're saying? For
if
instance,
you guys come to that agreement, it's all about, again, it's all about exchange and agreement. If you come to that agreement, fine. But the idea is about lending and borrowing and leaving collateral. So now rich people build their wealth by lending and borrowing, because if you have land that is valuable, you don't want to sell it, especially because you know that land is always appreciated. So you will not go sell your land, right? You would give it as collateral and receive, and if you borrow wisely, you can receive money and and do things with it, get value, and you could even buy more land with with the money you borrow from that. So
yes.
but in the real world, if you have a perfect plan, you spend a lot of time trying to write a project that explains how you're going to use that money, and then you take it to the bank, and they turn you around and turn you around and around and around, and then they end up stealing your land. Not in every case, but that's what really happens. But on a space like this, right, you see that with the automated market makers and the matching and the scripts and software that we have that have helped us fly planes and send satellites, we can use those two for lending and borrowing. So we could describe to them the processes of how to analyze these assets and how to like give you the value that is matched by the collateral that you've given, right? And they can also monitor the market and liquidate the asset when it's needed, as opposed to maybe receiving bribes and then chilling and then the market crashes one time. Like you said, banks are falling. That's because of games where someone, first of all, they used to do what they call fractional collateralization and fractional banking, where they only take a piece of the asset, or they just use the probability that you could pay a loan, and they issue you a loan. And then even if the loan is due, you could just add something or speak to somebody, and then they extend it. And after a while, the whole economy relies on debt, and it's now like a stack of cards put on top of each other very fragilely, in a way that if you hit one, everything collapses. And that's how, yeah. So but with these systems, the software is there to do all the mechanics of lending and borrowing. So if I need and so back to what we're saying, instead of you selling your asset, you lend it and you borrow wisely, and you can even buy more Bitcoin or more of that asset if you borrow correctly. You could as well go and tumble and stuff. So now to the original point, you see that this space gives people, it could be farmers, it could be you trying to start a restaurant, the ability to give collateral, get some value, do your stuff, and then come back to get it. And it goes back to what has made every civilization possible, which is the ability to dispatch capital allocation, and savings, and dispatching it when it's needed.
Bitcoin basically takes away the human, lapsity, the human lapses, the human error, or the humanity, basically in the financial system, and makes it more perfect now, since it's been done, by networks, by machines, and all of that, right?
Yeah, relatively speaking, yeah.
Nice. So if I want to invest my farm now, I want a collateral for my farm now. I'm a farmer now in Abuja. I want to get a loan, on from Bitcoin. So the collateral now will still be my land papers, right? My land document is what I give in.
Not exactly. That's if there. So there also. So just to take a step back, when I was explaining about collaterals, I was trying to show you one activity or financial procedure or phenomenon that runs on Bitcoin, which is lending and borrowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's another space which is available for people to tokenize their assets. So there are other blockchain projects, some of them built on Bitcoin, that you could take that land, turn it into a token, in the same way that the shares of a company is a token, right? Like you have your Google shares and some certificate that you get. So whomever has that certificate owns that land, right? So that certificate, so that land could be tokenized and uploaded. That certificate of ownership uploaded to the blockchain, right? And since you have the private and public key, you can text that land to somebody. So if I buy the land from you, you can text me the land. So if you text it to me and we sign, remember we said you use the private key, your PIN to sign things. So if you accept and you text me that land, I now own it because I can show that certificate. So the blockchain, it would have that security, or the Bitcoin networking, if that's the platform that is used, will secure that in a way that two of us cannot own it at the same time, unless we have some kind, unless because we own fractions of it. You see, so in that case, then you could give that as collateral, because if it's on the blockchain or on the network, it will have its value. You see, that could be expressed in Bitcoin as well. So you could use it. But in the case where that is not the token, then we'll go back to square one. It's about exchange. We'll find a way now of us meeting in the middle and exchanging what it is that we have. So, but always remember, it's about exchange. It's about exchange. You and I are exchanging time. People listening here are exchanging time to listen to us, and they're giving us their time. So everything is about exchange and transaction, and making sure that those that have A and want B, and those that have B and want A can meet, and then they do their exchange.
So I guess those are part of the experiences. Those are part of the educative experiences that you said also comes with Bitcoin.
Yes.
Because
You
they're
learn a
trying to
lot.
highlight about it. Bitcoin is not just about, owning the assets or all of that. It also educates you, on our society and the new world. I'm adding the new world because I know that our society of today is about a new world.
Yes,
So
very
tell
true.
us more. How can one get to understand, get more
Y-
educated,
yes.
and elevate his value in terms of whatever choice of field he chooses to function, while
Yeah.
dealing in as he deals in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yes, Brian has
So
seen it. They have seen it. They are showing you toys.
okay. So actually,
Yeah. Oh
uh,
yeah, go. Bye bye.
uh, you had asked the question about.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Brian has seen it. Yeah. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Say hi to them.
Oh yeah. Emma, close the door. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, okay. There is a comment from Michael. She says to own bitcoins, you need an electronic wallet. Your wallet permits you to deposit your bitcoins and keep for as long as you want. Withdraw bitcoins into your local currency, transfer bitcoins to the bitcoin holder's wallet address, and you can also convert the bitcoins to other cryptocurrencies, especially when the bitcoin is losing value. You can convert your bitcoin to
Wow.
another more stable
Oh wow.
cryptocurrency like USDT and TRC20. Oh wow, Mika, I see
That's
you're
interesting.
deep into this. This is amazing.
That's interesting. So if I heard that correctly, if naira is losing value, if dollars is losing value, or if my naira is losing value today, right, I can decide to invest it in dollar.
Dollars, exactly. You exchange it.
So that's okay.
Yeah. So that's why I said that is fundamentally exchange. And so if we read this again, you would see things that stand out. Exchange and services that could be built on top of it, and that could further the exchange. So I'll read it again. To own bitcoins, you need an electronic wallet. This is what gives you that window into the network. This is what gives you the voice. This is like the wallet is like the robot that you give it instructions on your behalf that participates in the network for you. You see, then so your wallet permits you to deposit your bitcoins and keep for as long as you want. You see, so once you receive those things, it's cryptography. It's encrypted. So and with cryptography, anyone, the thing is there. Everybody can see it, but the only person that can take out is the person that can solve a puzzle. And most times that puzzle will be your secret key. Just seem like for you to log in into my account on Facebook, you need to guess my password. You see what I mean? So that's a puzzle for you. But this cryptography uses very clever tricks to hide things like that. So you can deposit your Bitcoin and keep it for as long as you want. Withdraw Bitcoin to your local currency, transfer Bitcoins to other Bitcoin holders' wallet address, and you can also convert the Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies. So again, you see how if you can hold this thing and send to someone, right? Then we can exchange. So when you need something, you give me, and if the our common denominator is that Bitcoin, the thing that the language you're speaking, I send to you. So now you could build services on top of this. Somebody could say, okay, I will receive Bitcoin and send you mobile money. So now it will go back to the idea of automated market maker. So like we said, somebody has tomatoes and somebody has dollars, and the market maker mixes them and the exchange. So you have all of those. It's a whole economy and a whole
So
ecosystem.
so 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 I can receive Bitcoin and send you news articles that I've written on my site.
Exactly. Exactly.
I can receive Bitcoin and send you fertilizer.
Yes, exactly. Because it's a
So
medium of exchange.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can just push your Bitcoin to an airline, and they send you an
A
air ticket
ticket.
for your
Exactly. So
holiday.
you can exchange it, buy it. The same like you can give your US dollars and you take a car. You see,
Mm,
like Tesla even was accepting Bitcoin for a bit. You see,
mm-hmm.
and yeah, so again it comes down to exchange. It's a medium of exchange. Like if when we go and look at the properties, you will see why it is that people are trying to exchange it, and is one of the experiences that people have when they dive into Bitcoin because they go into it for the money. And I'm actually seeing that, like with Duchess, like I can feel how she has learned a lot. That's what Bitcoin does to you. When you get into it, it takes your
Yeah.
brain and stretches it. And you start learning about things that you never knew that you would learn.
Mm.
But anyway, to your
So just to ask you directly, what are some of the most intriguing things that you have learned since you joined Bitcoin? Just, I know that there are so many,
Yeah.
but what is more intriguing that you feel like you like to share? And,
Yeah.
so when you talk, Topo Spaces, we talk with a great perspective for Africa. So, draw that example that you think would that.
Do you want the technical or the which one do you want? The
No,
technical or
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just giving you Topo Spaces. Topo Spaces priority, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So
mean, for the most obvious one that I think a lot of people will connect with is money. Since like connecting with Bitcoin, I have actually learned a lot about money. Like I've been in the US for a couple of years, but I'd never owned like a savings account. I would create a savings account and I would start withdrawing from it until it turns into a checking account. And so I would read books about finance and how to grow wealth, but I was never able to do that because things will always happen. When you have money, you save it, something will happen. Even a family member could be sick or something else could be sick. But it's not that you don't need to support, but the point is that if you save money, what you're doing is you're saying, I believe this money will have use in future, so I save it, and I believe that it will be more valuable to me in future. That's why I did not spend it. So if I put it in a bank, I should be able to connect with that value. But the banks will give you an annual return of like 0.02 or 0.05%. Like that's not even up to 1% of your money. So you need to keep it there for years for you to see like a little bit of money. But when I bought my first Bitcoin for like $200, and it was just a little bit. And before I checked it, I would see my balance is at $500, and then I check it's $600, $700. Sometimes it might come down to 100 and rest, but it will go to $500. I'll be like, man, I put $200 in this thing, and it's now $500. So you see that is that store of value that really appreciates. And I noticed that it's almost like it democratizes wealth management and building, because traditionally I would have to buy stock, but I'll need thousands of dollars, or I'll need a lot of things. And even when I buy the stock, I'll need to be on my toes in order for me to like catch up with what's going on. But this was me just having a wallet, or just logging into an exchange, paying $200 and getting some fraction of a Bitcoin, and then I started seeing the value going up and going up and going up. And also me seeing that value, I also realized that it made me to appreciate it at a more fundamental and metaphysical level, in the sense that when you see that value accruing and accumulating, you don't want to stop that process. You see, so it will really need to be a life and death situation before I can take that money out, and that's what wealth management is. So if I put $200 in the bank today, and in next year I look at it and it's like $201, then there's no incentive for me to even put more there. I can easily take that out. But if I put it and then I see the reward, but mind you, the managers and the executives of these institutions, they are going with hundreds of millions. So they will take your money and lend it out, and then you pay them for keeping your money. Like I always get pissed when I see maintenance fee per month, $12.
You don't pay anybody. You don't pay any form of tax. You don't pay anybody.
No, I
the
can't
value
put it.
The money is given to you 100%.
I can put it. It's not white and black like that, but the summary is that the value that you put in there, especially over time, it appreciates. Because if you look at the nature of Bitcoin, is deflationary. So every 4 years the supply halves. You see, so half of what is remaining of Bitcoin is always released in 4 years, and then the next cycle will release half of that half. So you see that the supply of it is getting smaller, and if it's getting smaller, and then the thing is, that's just one event. That's on one side is getting smaller. On the other side, more people are wanting it. So it's not something that has, if you remember in economics, there's something called elasticity of supply, which means that, or which plays out in the way that when there's an asset that people want, more people can go make more of it. So the supply can be elastic, like gold. If more people want gold, more people will go mine gold. You see, but Bitcoin, if more people want Bitcoin, you can make more than is scheduled, and you can make more than the limit. There is a limit of 21 million. So it doesn't. It's an asset that doesn't have that elasticity. You see, so it means you can be sure that it appreciates over time. So, but now since it's still new, because of
Brian, just a minute. Let me deal with this. What?
hi everyone listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks Duchess for your support. It's great. I hope you enjoy Bitcoin. It's a beautiful space. You can learn a lot from it. From whatever direction. It's a space that you could go there and look in one direction and go until you meet that part of the world that the skies touch the ground and there's still more for you to dig.
Yes. So Brian,
Yep.
you were saying talking about the elasticity of supply and
Yeah.
how it is related in Bitcoin,
Yes.
how it makes
So
Bitcoin
yes.
more valuable.
Yes. So I was just trying to show you some of the properties because you asked me what it is that I've learned. And yeah, so that's what I was explaining. It's a whole journey, right? And because that, if you look at Bitcoin, it shows you life things that you learned in theory. You see what I mean? Like, and it's predictable. You see, the physicist, right, can do calculations based on the speed of light. We know that things cannot go faster than the speed of light. If you want to go faster than the speed of light, you have to be light itself. And that's why, because just imagine if you start running, let's say you start running to the shop, right? Einstein captured almost all activities like that with the equation E equals mc squared. So m stands for mass, then c is the speed of light, so squared. So he's saying that energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. So what that means is, if you start approaching the speed of light, you have to become energy. So you have to become as energetic as light itself for you to even have that energy to run at that speed, of which at that point you already be energy. You see what I mean? So but we can do these kinds of thinking and calculations and realizations because light, we know this, the speed of light is constant. If it was changing all the time, we would be chasing it like in from another end, and would lose more. So now the physicists could make predictions and could do calculations based on that, and they're sure that it will be forever. You see, so now Bitcoin has 21 million units, so it can never be more than that, but it can be less because when you lose Bitcoin, it's gone. With your, you see how you can forget your password to Facebook, and if you don't remember it, maybe, and there's no way for you to recover it, that account is gone, right? So with Bitcoin, it's even worse because it's public and private keys. So if you forget your keys, no matter what Bitcoin is there, you cannot get it. You see, so you see that there's a maximum of 21 million, but people will lose it. People will lose their own fraction. So you can only get maximum, but as people are losing it, the value, the total amount is getting smaller, and that's how the supply is becoming scarcer and scarcer. You see what I mean? Yeah. So now with that cap, that constant, you see that you can start doing predictions. So I can now do a calculation that 10 years from now, let's say, okay, in 2009, Bitcoin was, let's say, $1. And in 2020, it averaged $65,000. Or 2021, it averaged $65,000. What other asset do I know that has performed like that, from 1 to times 60,000 in 10 years. So if you ever did science and or you ever went to school and they said that, oh, have a hypothesis and then start working to a solution, what is stopping you from saying, okay, let me put money in there now and see how it will be in the next 10 years? You see, so based on the statistics that you have for the past 10 years, you want to see the probability that you hit this certain amount. So there's a lot of games that you can play on it. So in summary, those are some of the things that I've learned. Like I'm able to do calculations. I'm able to save. I'm able to learn about things, be it money, be it governance, be it things like inflation, be it things like even physics, because Bitcoin itself is mined by energy, and then it's taught me a lot in the computer space, because the way Bitcoin is programmed is a different way of thinking that saves space, and it's very, very clever. So just me looking at Bitcoin, I'm just happy. It's like watching a movie. It's just like
Like
dealing
watching
with
a
it in
movie.
code. Yeah, it's really, really pretty and beautiful. So me, that's that. If I painted any
Wow.
picture at all.
I mean that's mind blowing. I'm sure. And if the human brain is curious, for adventures,
Yeah,
then Bitcoin is where everybody needs to go and get adventurous and also become rich
yeah,
in the
yeah.
process of learning.
It is
You
amazing.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. But again, I mean, while talking to some of my guys, I mean the guys who I was with, I heard that Bitcoin crashed sometimes. Was it this year or last year or when?
Yes. It crashes all the time. It's very volatile.
Crashes all the time.
Yes. And that's why I was saying, that's why I specifically said if you look over 10 years, right? So also the value of Bitcoin has always gone up every year,
Hmm.
or at, if you want to stretch it, like every 4 years, for reasons that are a little bit more technical. But again, remember we said the total remaining supply halves every 4 years, right? So that alone reduces the supply. And then there are many factors that affect the price. First, it's a young asset. It's not up to 10 years. It's like 10. It's not up to 20 years old, and it's sucked a lot of value in that time. So you can as well start by saying, okay, there is this thing that you can say, okay, if it survived for 11 years and you check its history, all the wars it's been through, the scrutiny, all the hate and everything, it means it can survive at least for another 11 years or 10 years. So you could do calculations, or 12 years, you do calculations like that. So now, and earlier we had spoken about land, that you can take your land and go and stake it and take collateral. So when I say it like that, you would understand why you should not sell the land, right? So even if today, even if you own land, one day you pass, they say this land is 1 million naira, then the next day you pass, they say it's 400 naira, 400,000 naira. Will you sell it? Most people will just know that it was once 1 million, so it will be more than 1 million in the future, right? So if you use that mindset in the Bitcoin space too, you would see that those price volatilities don't matter, because it's almost like you looking at this asset that appreciates over time, right? And then you come and look at the price in the morning and the evening, or a few days apart, and it's gone down, and then you are worried. So it's like you buying, or those that get it mostly to trade it, is that you buying land in the morning and selling in the evening, you buy in the morning, say, so you see you're wasting a lot of energy. Whereas you can just sit and leave it there. It's your value, it's your land, it's appreciate, and you can even use it and build stuff or rent it. Farmers come and work on it, and then they give you money, and after that you kick them out. I mean, friend in a friendly manner, and the next people. So you could actually invest and use that land as opposed to selling it. So, but the thing too is that for those that buy and sell like that, the demand and supply must work on it. Because remember, like, and one day I tried to count, like, there's several points that could let's say, like, outlets that could be established in terms of demand and supply for Bitcoin transactions. I've not really finished the thought, but maybe we can look at it here. So imagine that I'm an exchange, and when I come to buy Bitcoin, right? So when I buy it, Bitcoin is needed for transaction fees. So, Isaac, I think Isaac is gone on the other part. So I'll just wait a bit for him to come. But those that are listening, thanks a lot for listening. Please feel free to ask your questions. If you have any questions, Isaac has been doing the questioning, and today I was the one answering. So I'm answering the little I know about it, and I'll be glad if I can learn from you too or get your feedback so that we could adjust. Yeah. So Isaac, like we're saying, uh, every transaction is an exchange on like the stage of demand and supply, right? So as people are buying Bitcoin, when they buy it, when they demand it, so if the demand exceeds the supply, then the price will be higher, right? So that if the supply exceeds the demand, there will be a surplus. So it's like how if you have 10 phones, you can easily just give one phone to your neighbor. Anyone, even in the street, you meet an Okada man and you give him one phone. You see, but if phones are scarce, you cannot give it out like that. You see, the worst is when people need it. You see, so now in the Bitcoin space, as people are buying and selling, and asking for it, so there are times when the prices will go up and the prices will go down. But the main thing that happens is that uh, those that really understand Bitcoin don't sell it, right? They don't sell it. It's like land. It's an asset. You don't sell it. You can actually lend it and the rest. But watch what happens. So imagine that I. So again, go back to the land thing. Like we said, if your land is worth 1 million today, something may happen. There could be an accident somewhere, and then the land's value goes to 400,000. But if it's been 1 million, you are certain that someday it will still be 1 million,
Yes.
and even more than. Land always appreciates, especially
So, so,
over
so,
time.
so basically, the factors that that affect Bitcoin that makes it drop, at some point in time are temporal. They are only temporal. They
Yes,
cannot hold it down.
yes, exactly. And then this is some detail that I'm giving you. It's just like land, because land always appreciates. Something may happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you have even seen swamps that over
Yes.
time they have drained it, and it's even more valuable than, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So which means that if the price goes down, it could always gain its value, even if it means adding that value, of which it's a new technology. It's changing. It's like the internet. It's like telephones. When they came, not everybody understood them, but over time people now use telephones for almost anything. You see, people work from with their telephones. People do all sorts of things. So the more they do that, the demand for telephones go on and the value goes on, and that's why companies like Apple can be $1 trillion. You see, so over time, you see, so which means that if you are in this space, you can be guaranteed that over time, the value will go up, and one of the principles or laws of like wealth management is that wealth is not really about spending. It's about optionality. It's about having to make options based on what you have. So it's about having things and using them when it's needed. You see, so now, so if you look at it like that, you see that there is this asset.
No, Brian, please let's understand this philosophy that you're just trying to coin, that you're just throwing up here now. You're saying here that work, human efforts, human efforts for survival, which we used to understand, give us money, and money gives us the reward of that value. It's not basically about just spending now.
Yes,
It's
yes,
about options.
exactly.
It's about options.
And I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
So and that you can understand that by looking at the definition of what more people adopt as money, or what people call sound money. If I counterfeit naira and want to give you will not take it, right? So because you will not have many options with that naira.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you cannot enter many places with that naira or US dollars and do things that you want. You may want to buy a yacht. You may want to go for a trip. You may want to buy books for your kids. So you can take tomatoes and go to the bookshop person, but maybe the bookshop person has a tomato farm. So you don't have many options when it comes to your tomatoes. So, but if you go with naira, You can take it anywhere. You can travel the whole Nigeria with naira. Do you see the options that naira gives you? So sound money is something about, it's about optionality. You see, it's about the options that it gives you, based on like what you want to do. And a human being fundamentally is a being of action. It's a being that wants to always make their lives better. So if not, right, you will not eat, because you eat when you're hungry and you know that the food will make you better. So that's how life is being better all the time. It's about changing. That's why they say change is constant. So now if you have this tool that gives you options, it means it can lubricate a lot of the actions that you want in the term or in the guise of transactions. So you have actions, then you have like transactions, as you could do within other people, like just like if you say transcontinental, within continents, and then if you say transactions.
Yeah. So if we live in a global world now, which we call a global village, right? And I am in Nigeria, and I feel happy because of the so much number of options that naira gives me in
Yeah,
lottery in Nigeria,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So now Bitcoin now breaks that and makes it a global view, makes it universal,
exactly, exactly,
right? Like
yeah,
if naira gives you, if you're a millionaire in Nigeria and it gives you so much luxury in Nigeria, right? So even naira has a limitation in those kind of options, in
yeah,
that kind of luxury that it can give, or
exactly,
convenience,
yes,
existence that it can give you.
yeah.
Now Bitcoins makes it universal.
And we can look at examples. Exactly. For example, look at us in Topo Spaces. Suppose that we want to start making podcast episodes and selling, right? In a way that you cannot see if you have not bought a ticket. So if we have to sell it in Cameroon, we're kind of limited. Like, are they using MTN Orange? Are they using? Sorry, look at me at MTN. Are they using MTN Money? Orange Money? What money are they using? And then does Facebook accept it? And then we jump to Nigeria. Are they using this? And does Facebook accept it? Does Facebook bans Nigeria? Don't forget that, and all of those kinds of things. So it's just like in doing business, it's about gates. Like they're just blockers everywhere we try to go. So, but if you sit that video on top of the Bitcoin network, to go back to your question that you asked me about what I learned, this is some of the things I learned technologically speaking. I could take the video and encrypt it, right, with my Bitcoin address or Topo Spaces address. So now, if somebody buys it with Bitcoin, then we just give them access
Anywhere
to
in the world.
unlock it. Yeah, I was gonna use that as my punchline. So,
Anywhere in the world.
yeah, so when we sit it on top of Bitcoin, whether you're in Russia, whether you're in China, whether you're in Tibet, all you need is to be able to participate in that network and then to follow the steps that we have put in order for you to unlock that video, and boom. So you see that you see that the optionality for Bitcoin is not only one way. It's not only like you having the naira and you're able to spend. It's also about the people that have that could come and use you as an option because of the medium that Bitcoin gives you. You see what I mean? So you see that it's bi-directional. You see, so it's almost like a cycle, and we say like a virtuous cycle.
It sounds something like witchcraft.
Yeah, because so the thing is that we humans, we are attracted to beauty, and aesthetics is a philosophy of beauty, right? If you look at aesthetics, you see that it's very close to witchcraft, because witchcraft is also close to miracles, and miracles are things that are mysterious that we can't understand, and it could be that we can't understand because it's so
And
far away, or it's so
it's so
perfect.
enchanted. It's so limitless.
Yes, exactly. So
Yes.
so that's what happens with systems like this. Let me give you another example.
Okay. What?
Imagine the people that went to the moon with the computer with the Apollo that went to the moon. Now the phone that you use, or this phone, has more processing power and more gigabytes space than that aircraft and the computers in that aircraft. You see, so now I can be running Microsoft Word here, running wallets, running YouTube, running Netflix. I could run a whole, it's almost like a whole empire of applications on it. It's kind of limitless, you see, but we are so used to it that it's just normal. So, but the Bitcoin space is still new, so some of these things are still very magical to us. We have not been. I've not had the chance to answer.
What question is that?
That what stops you from keeping your money under your mattress? That.
But I can even answer that.
Okay, great. Okay.
Why put your money on your mattress when your money when if you have it in Bitcoin, it is there forever, and it can help you achieve whatever thing you want as far as it's available on the network.
Mashallah. And you can multiply it because but the reason why I said that is because the reason why I came back to that question is because it's a very fundamental question. It's a question that that makes us understand money from the political point of view. And by politics, I don't mean the dirty game we all know. I'll go back to like Aristotle or the ancient Greeks that said politics is the economics of the state, right? And then economics is the politics of the household. So which means that you can start by looking at politics in your house as a tool in your house. You see that you with your kids and your wife, you all want to work for progress. You all want to progress. You all want to have a better tomorrow. That's why you even teach your kids how to say hi to strangers. So you see that from the family, if that is practiced by everybody, that's how we could even change the world. You see, so if you look at it from that point of view, you see that if you are part of a system that allows you use value, that allows you to see value in things, is the same. You'll be able to experience that value in the same way that you know that it's good to be good to people. If you see what I mean. So, but now to be concrete, right? One way that it takes you to politics is that if you have 1 million naira under your mattress, right? That 1 million naira will sit there. Okay. If after 1 year, the amount of naira, total circulating amount or the circulating supply of naira stays the same, you will still have the purchasing power of 1 million naira, right? Okay. So, but if actually the circulating supply of naira drops, so maybe like how they say snake swallowed money, like if a snake or some kind of thing or natural disaster or whatever happens and some of the naira disappears, let's say 20% disappears, so your money will go up in value at least 20%, or at least within the range of 20%, because since 20% of the total circulating supply has dropped, it means that the asset is 20% scarcer. You see what I mean? So the more it's scarce, the more it has value. It's simplest thing to see. When you were growing up, you will see some T-shirt that comes out, and you're the first to have it in your Cartier, and then when people see it, they're like, "Oh wow, Isaac, I love this here T-shirt." The 1 week later, everybody has it. So when you're passing and people see you with your T-shirt, it's not valuable anymore. Everybody has it. So the supply of that T-shirt is now more. So there is no value in you having it. It's not special. You see, but if you have just one of it, you see how the gains you get socially, right? You more people will praise it. So then imagine money. So imagine money. So if money gets scarcer, then it will have more value to be able to purchase more. But now, if you put that 1 million under your mattress, it so happens that you're in a world that the total supply of that naira is expanding. So since it's expanding, it means that okay, if
One
they
day.
it's like they adding more of that T-shirt that you had. So
Yeah.
so everybody now will just have naira, and if
Yeah.
everybody just has naira, naira is not special. So
Mm-hmm.
so prices will go up
Mm-hmm.
because it's easy to get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since it's easy to get it,
Mm-hmm.
people will price you more
That's
for
inflation.
things. So if you
Mm.
keep that money under your mattress, you would be like those people, and this is normal. That always tell us that when I was young, I used to buy, let's say I used to travel from Abuja to Lagos 1 naira, and you'll be looking at your grandmother and you're laughing. Or they will
Mm.
say I used to pay for my house 10 naira, right? You have heard the stories, or they'll tell you about something that they
Yeah.
used to buy in the 80s that was very cheap, but today is expensive. That's not supposed to be the case. Because if you take things like gold, right, the purchasing power of gold is going up. Instead, like what you can buy with gold is more than what you can buy with naira, right? That's because gold is appreciating over time, and because its inflation rate is smaller. You see, so if you keep that 1 million under your mattress, right, and the total circulating supply or the circulating supply of money is expanding, then that your naira is losing its value slowly and slowly. If you
Yeah.
keep it in a bank, you will pay fees for keeping that, so it will also reduce. And then they're printing more, so it will also reduce. And then there's the risk that the bank can
What is
close at any time, so you can lose it. But so that's why people look for investments, like buy land with that money because it's to appreciate. You want to put that money somewhere that will multiply it. So that
yeah.
will capture that its value but not go below it. It will either be the same or more. You
Yeah.
see, so yeah. So that's one reason, and Bitcoin so far has shown its performance. It's been able to take $1 to $60,000 over time. You see, so which means it's a store of value.
Mm.
Which means a store of this value that can give you options, and that can be transmitted or transferred easily, and that can be secured at your own, and then you can verify yourself. So when you look at all of those properties, that's what will attract you to it, as opposed to keeping your money under your mattress.
So that means that means that do you foresee a probability whereby bitcoins can phase out the traditional banking system?
Uh, yes, I do.
You
And
do.
yes, and it's already happening, because they say that there was a financialization of Bitcoin, but when you look at it, there's actually the Bitcoinization of finance. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I mean? In the sense that, like, I think I forgot where I heard this, but it made a lot of sense, because I just told you of lending and borrowing, and those are all financial applications. Because if
Mm.
you look at finance as a space, then applications are the same as uses. What are the uses of finance as a whole? What are the games that you can play on top of finance? So now with Bitcoin, people can even write scripts, and it's programmable. So for example, I could write a script, like I have scripts that lock money that I can only get in next year. You see, so like I could write a script that locks my money and only gives me next year. So which means I could want to hand over money to my kid, and I program that experience. You see that, okay, unlock this on his 18th birthday and blah blah blah. You can program that. So if you can program that your money like that, then it opens a lot of possibilities in the finance world that you would not see in the traditional finance system. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yes, I was just saying that no wonder the Nigerian government is not so comfortable with bitcoins.
Yes, we can talk about that too. And and so Uh, so if you look at because so far we have just been chatting, like I would say, very locally, not technically. I would say very generally about Bitcoin. Not we have not spoken technically about it, and so you you we have not gotten a sense of why governments may want to ban it. You see what I mean? So, but if I were a government, and I would look into it. If I were a government, I would look into it and try to understand it. Just like everyone, like it's easy for you to dismiss something. Like nowadays, people easily try to prove that they're smart by showing how much they can dismiss something. And when I was growing up, I used to think that was politics, where someone could just wake up and say this president or this mayor is stupid. This mayor cannot do this, cannot do that, and then we'll say that's a great politician. That's probably what we think. We think that it's about criticize things. So people now think that you show knowledge by dismissing and like I don't want to use the word criticize, um, attacking by attacking something. So when you attack it, maybe it shows that you are knowledgeable about it. But systems like Bitcoin, those that really participate in it, Bitcoin is something that you interact with it at the personal level. You see, so it's something that you can run yourself, program it yourself, so you can see the value. If you see that salvation is really personal, so when people stand out and make these general facts and attack it, you can easily identify that. So the same with government. So even as governments are banning it, those that really interact with it, they know why.
I think we've been talking for how many?
Yeah, 1 hour 32 minutes. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. So, and this issue about this government, banning it, is a serious thing.
yeah, it is.
It's really a serious thing. And I want a situation. I think we can organize an episode basically to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Why, especially, we can domesticate it to Nigeria. Why is the Nigerian government, frowning at Bitcoin?
Yeah, that would make
You know,
sense. Yeah, that would make sense. But if we can summarize, it's just because, in the same way that YouTube democratizes like publishing, like let's say media, you could start your TV station on YouTube, and with Zoom and Facebook, you and I are here. Back in the day, this would probably have been some kind of a general a process of like going to the government to get license. But YouTube allows anyone to be able to start a channel. You see, so Bitcoin also democratizes currency and asset management in that sense. It gives you custody of your assets. So because at the start of it, it's a network that exchanges electricity for value. You see, so it's not like, and it also solves the problem of making something from something. You know, a lot of things crash. Even our financial systems, they crash today because the governments make money out of nothing. They just print more money, like trillion in the years, trillions of dollars. They will tell you that it's a stimulus and this, but they're robbing the value of that from the future generations. You see, but this network, the Bitcoin actually came about because they were trying to fight something like this. In a typical capitalist system, it's like the jungle, right? Evolution happens. If a company cannot compete, it should die. Others will feed off its carcass. For example, if you try to create a car company in Nigeria, and many of them, and a car company dies or goes bankrupt, somebody who is starting a school can go buy one of their factories and create a refectory in it, or create a basketball court in it and stuff like that. But if the company is trying to die and the government just prints money and gives them, it's like not allowing your kid to be corrected. So you are corrupting the household. You see, so if you have a capitalist world where the governments and let's say institutions keep interrupting in a way that disrupts the natural flow, then we would have tendencies of crashes that are catastrophic, and money will not have value anymore. So these are the things that the Bitcoin people had seen and they're trying to solve. So that's why they created deflationary money, that the total supply is going down, and they give custodian, and it's kind of decentralized. There's no one person controlling it, because over time, things that have central control is easy. Central control is a point of attack. You see, like if you have some one person that takes the decisions, what if something happens to him? What if someone puts a gun on his head and tells him to sign something? You see, so but if it's decentralized, right? There's no central location. Everyone is almost the same. There's no way to attack it. You see, so it gives it more value. So people are beginning to see value in such systems that are decentralized. And there's the privacy aspect of it, like you've noticed the pseudonymity and the custody that you take care of everything. So it puts power back in your hands. So it takes power and puts it in the hands of the individual. So a lot of governments will not like that for a start. Yeah. So that's
one aura that I noticed, and I'm saying this with all sincerity.
Yeah.
One aura that I notice with people that invest with Bitcoin is that they are so very confident, and very pragmatic about how they do things. And I'm not going too far. I'm talking about last week. I just met my friend, who just got married, and the way he was going about doing his things, he's so sure. If he wants to do it, he do it. If he does not want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. If he wants to spend his money on it, he wants to spend his money on it.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that is the kind of mentality that Bitcoin gives to people.
Yeah.
In terms of how they value themselves and how they value what they do around.
Yeah. Very true. I would say that, especially those that connect with it, or like we said, it has the ability to make certain things clear to you. You see, it takes back power and puts in your hands. If you are careless, you lose your Bitcoin keys, you lose all your Bitcoin. But mostly, you want to start from scratch and you'll be more careful. If you start by trading, like you want to be buying in the morning and selling, it will slap you. And you see how you lose that money. And then you say, oh, let me keep it. So it's the whole, if you see, the more people stay in Bitcoin, the more the world changes and the more you realize what you're realizing. So it starts allowing you to take value and keep it or make moves when you're sure. Because again, since it's also volatile, it's fast for you to have an accident with your Bitcoin. You see, so it and the whole ethos of the system is about validity. Like you should be able to validate things, don't just hear things and accept them. So everyone, like I have a Bitcoin node that runs here. It took 3 to 5 days for me to process all the transactions. So every participant, you process all the transactions from 2009 to make sure they're correct. So you'll be one extra person that has said that this network of money, all these transactions are correct, following the rules of the network. So that accountability, so it gives you a different kind of interactions with the system and with life. So I think Isaac has some network issues.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. You back. Yeah. So yeah. Hope that makes sense. So that's the point about that. How it connects you with reality. It gives you another connection with reality and value management, and that custody that you have, you become like more responsible, so to speak.
More responsible for yourself.
Yes.
Responsible.
Yes, because you see the value. So and also what you notice is that you see many people, and just mark my words, this will happen. Like you'd see many people that bought Bitcoin back when it was like $1. There were times when it was 0 point something. Where with $1, there was a time when you could buy 1,024 of them for $1. You see, so there are people that bought it, and then maybe when it went to $30, they thought they saw how their wealth had gone, they sold it, and then maybe it went to $1,000, and then they started regretting and why they sold it, and maybe they bought again and it went to like 7,000 or 11,000, and then they sold it, and then it went to 21,000, and they regretted why they sold it. So over time, they will just buy and keep. And just be watching it as it's going up and up and up. So it has a way of educating people. You see, and then there's another group of people that they would hear about it and they go read articles. Mostly the articles are from centralized institutions that maybe have direct connections with governments and they have agendas. So they will start by insulting it. So they will attack it and say it uses a lot of energy. And if you look at that, you'll be like, okay, are they wasting the energy? The energy is used to secure value. The market capital was $1 trillion. You say they use energy that can run a country. They're using it to secure $1 trillion. But there are people that use energy for Christmas lights. There are people that use energy to power a stadium that horses go and run, and people are gambling. No one is talking about that. So if you start looking at it, you see that most of these articles they're just attacks that have little base. You see what I mean? And so so there are people now that when they come to the space, they go read these articles, and when they talk about Bitcoin, it's only to insult it or attack it. So now, then when governments ban it, they say, you see, I told you, this thing will not go anywhere. So before they know, its price has gone times 10, and then they come to their senses. You see, and then they buy it. So I don't know. I'm trying to show you the different classes of people and how Bitcoin educates them. So when they buy it now, then they may go through that process where they will sell and to go higher, and then they will buy and they learn how to keep it and learn how to manage wealth. So it's something that educates you.
Interesting. Yeah, man, Brian, it's time to go, man. It's,
yes. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, my people are here.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Isaac.
Thanks for your time. It's been quite educative. I just want to say to people who would come and watch later, if you have any comments, anything that you want to learn more, or something that you want to ingest, into the discussion of the Bitcoin, this is just one of the beginning. You can just drop your comments. And also to say to Duchess, I have some of my friend that I'm talking about. He's actually running around now to set up an office, where he could offer Bitcoin services, and I'm sure from our comments that she has dropped, I'm sure since we pride ourselves as Topo Spaces, a meeting space for people to meet, I'll be happy if she's available here, when he's going to be here, so that they could share experiences of what is being done in Cameroon, in terms of domesticating Bitcoin, and what he too could do with his Bitcoin office here in Nigeria.
Mashallah.
That's just an appeal to Duchess, and I will drop it in the comments after the show. Just so to make sure she sees it.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right. Isaac, thanks a lot.
All right, man. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you too. Thanks everyone for listening. Please share as much as you can. Let us know if we missed something or we're talking nonsense. Let us know if there's anything to add. Please add, and we'll try our best to chat more about Bitcoin so we can see the value in it and capture it and scale forward. Thank you, guys. Bye, Isaac.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.